2016 saw one of the biggest changes in global history when President Trump won the presidency. March of 2020 was the second global disruptor when COVID entered the stage. The third, 2020 US presidential elections. The fourth, January 6th. The fifth, war in Ukraine. You see, the United States is the number one country in the entire world, with Europe being a hot second. What happens here reverberates across the globe. In today's video, we will touch on the main 5 world changes triggered by each event and how you can or should adapt to this new normal. Welcome to the Olympian Report, where we talk about money, life, and just about anything else. Nice to see you again. I am your host, Alistair. One, confirmation bias. With Trump's win over the US presidency, political lines were drawn and shockwaves of despair and panic gripped the democratic world. On that same token, autocracies and dictatorship felt empowered. The surge of social media activity went through the roof, introducing confirmation bias. Confirmation bias is the deliberate search for information that supports your own point of view. Guys, that's exactly what social media algorithms do, and they are great at it. It feeds you more of the same content. Over time, it just makes you unable to critically think. It essentially lowers your IQ significantly. When we were children, every experience was new, and we asked a lot of questions. Why? How? When? Up until our 30s. However, from a developmental point of view, that is when humans are at their most creative, and that thirst for creativity is what builds critical thinking and problem-solving skills. And like all skills, use it or lose it. Since 2016, the world has been in a loophole of biased information, eroding away at that crucial critical thinking, and the spell doesn't show signs of being broken anytime soon. Yes, the world is getting dumber, and your best way to stand out from this mess is to go back to your inner child and start asking questions. Why? How? When? And seek multiple different points of view and choose the option that makes the most logical and practical sense. 2. The world is going remote. We are currently in a digital age with an online marketplace, but prior to COVID, there was no real pressure to force all aspects of our economies to have a remote subsidiary. COVID changed the game. Education on all levels and sectors can now be taught online. All grocery chains, fitness, massage, medicine, physical therapy, pediatrics, dermatology, real estate, litigation, courts, law enforcement, DMV now have an online option. COVID has rendered literally all aspects of the world economy feasible from home without ever coming into contact with anyone if you wish not to. Guys, we are social beings. When you analyze the data on the rise of mental illness derived from COVID lockdown, you are quickly reminded that humans evolved in social groups. It is in our DNA to seek companionship. Heck, even psychopaths need interactions. As the world is forging its remote option, it is important to carve out time to reconnect with other humans. Go out there with your vaccination, wear your damn mask, and connect. Say hi to a stranger within a safe environment, of course. 3. Presidents have absolutely no control over gas prices. Remember our first point about logical, practical sense? Politics right now is crazy out of control, and there isn't anything anyone can do about it except you. Most of the population thinking a president controls gas prices speaks volume on how many people have no idea how free markets and money works, which is indicative that the small portion of people who do understand this game are making money hand over fist while the basic folks argue over gas prices. The world is moving away from science and fact-based decisions to superstitious and irrational ones. That is dangerous. Which leads us to our next point. 4. January 6th. This will be short, so pay attention. If you don't see the severity of not only the optics, but the symbolism of the US government being stormed into with credible threats of assassination on the orders of the sitting president of the United States towards its vice president and the number 3 most powerful person in the world, then you are too far gone to reason, and probability speaking, dangerous as well. You have poor judgment, which can turn deadly. You need to disconnect and seek therapy. Redirect that focus on your mental health. Get well again, truly. 5. Contested world order. In our very first video, we talked about the invasion of Ukraine and its real-life lessons that can be drawn from it. Check it out by clicking on the link at the top right corner. But you know who else was paying attention? China, Taiwan, and the whole of Africa. The current world order is simple. If you want to have a successful economy and a prosperous nation, you need access to European and American consumer dollars. Period. Some African nations like Mali and Senegal sided with Russia at the beginning of the war. Now, well, let's just say they are having second thoughts and their secret plea for forgiveness are falling on deaf ears. On the other hand, countries like Nigeria, Rwanda, and Cameroon have sided with the West and are in current talks on how to integrate within the US and EU market and regulations, in addition to assistance in both infrastructure and security from religious insurgents. Do you know what country was lifted out of poverty and into a modern powerhouse once they had access to the US-EU market? I'll give you a hint. It starts with a C, ends with an A. Now the question back to you. What other ways have you noticed the world is changing towards? Let us know in the comments, and as for that bonus, here it is. 6. Spending habits and transfer wealth. The wage gap is astronomical and it isn't shortening anytime soon. Back in the 80s, it was all about the material things. Big house, big boat, expensive cars. But the millennials and the generation after them are focused on experience, generational wealth, and eco-health. For millennials, 31% started investing before the age of 21. Baby boomers, that number was a meager 9%. Now, adding the wealth transfer they stem to inherit from the baby boomers, and you quickly notice their financial potential. However, unlike their parents, that potential is locked up in the market, collecting compound interest, ultimately making Gen Z and Gen Alpha, those born from 2010 to 2024, the wealthiest generation on planet Earth. Guys, as always, thank you for supporting this video by simply watching it till the end. But if you can, support us further by clicking that like, subscribe, and of course share to whoever you think needs it. And as always, see you next week. But if you are kind enough to buy us a coffee so we can stay up late researching, writing, editing, and uploading these contents, link in the description below. À bientôt, mes amis.